If you're wondering, I am still trying to get rid of all the glitter from the Mr. Beast video. Now the comment section told me the Play-Doh is good for getting up glitter, so got some of that. Yeah, that's worked real well. Yeah, I can see it coming up right there. It's crazy. It's just coming up in like thick lines. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like just these thick lines of glitter that were hiding in sort of the wood detailing of the table here. Well, there's still glitter on my hands, but... Well, there's glitter on my hands. That's the end of the sentence. the Play-Doh did such a good job of picking up the glitter, it became a glitter ball. So now my hands are covered in glitter. Yay! So here's a funny story. Every few weeks, I have to go to Walgreens to pick up my meds because I am an adult who says adult sentences. And of course, when I go to pick up my meds, I have to check out the toy section. One of the recent times I noticed this huge stack of Skibidi toilet blind boxes, and that just cracked me up so much because I just said to myself, who in their right mind would be buying Skibidi toilet blind boxes? I forgot my meds. There are 8 figures in these blind boxes. There's 8 different figures we could get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're not going to get a full collection no matter what, okay? But maybe if we hedge our bets, we might still have a chance at excellence. I printed out some notes so I could actually have something to say about what this is if you didn't know anything about it. So Skibidi Toilet was created by Alexei Gerasimov, and it was made using Source Engine and a bunch of assets from different Valve games. The first short was posted on February the 7th, 2023, and depicted a head coming out of a toilet and singing the Skibidi meme song. But as the series continued on, it actually developed an overarching story where the Skibidi toilets are kind of trying to invade this apocalyptic Earth wasteland. There are cameramen, speakermen, TV men, and the toilet men create some sort of mind control virus, and the war escalates because of this, and I believe that the cameramen are supposed to be the good guys, and this series has become popular enough that it has spawned merchandise, and allegedly a film adaptation is being produced, I believe by Michael Bay's production studio or something like that. And so yeah, this is definitely an example of an internet oddity that has sort of branched out into mainstream culture, where you can physically go out in the real world and just see Skibidi toilet on the shelves. Wikipedia points out that this is considered one of the first Gen Alpha internet trends. Gen Alpha is commonly believed to be people born from 2010 to 2025. Fun fact, that technically means that some of Gen Alpha will be voting in the next American presidential election, assuming we have one. The series currently has 26 seasons and 78 episodes, but obviously these are short, so I don't know how long the series actually is if you binge it from start to finish. But still, it is clearly a very big project that this guy spent a lot of time on. And yeah, I ended up stumbling into it in the wild, and I want to see if I can get some of the cool figures. So looking at the side of the box here, we could get cameraman, we could get speakermen, we could get the Skibidi toilet, obviously. We want to aim to end up with at least one of those. We could get the speaker woman, Slay Queen, the TV man who has a little smiley face, I like that. The G toilet, I don't like the G toilet. I would be upset if I end up with that one without any of the Skibidi toilets. Then we have Plunger Man, so that's what they call them now. And TV woman, you know. So Skibidi Toilet has gone woke. This is, frankly, a series that I have kind of mixed feelings about. Obviously, on the surface level, it seems kind of stupid. But on the other hand, when I'm doing videos for my channel, one of the things I really like to seek out is I love glup shittos. That is a term that is relatively recent, considering that I have been looking for glup shittos for longer than that phrase has been around. For those of you who aren't familiar, a glup shitto is basically an obscure lore character in a franchise that certain members of the fan base will go crazy for, but a regular person on the street would go, who the hell is that? So like Luke Skywalker isn't a glup shitto, but a random character in Star Wars Rebels or the Clone Wars. They might be a glup shitto. And that's something I unironically look for when I'm trying to work on these pop culture retrospectives and breakdowns. I kind of try and say, what is the glup shitto? What is the, like, character that I want to walk away from this kind of treating like the mascot? So an example would be Purple Monkey in Lonely Girl 15, Wade Freeman in the Thinning movies. iCarly and Victorious had a ton of them. Obviously, you got Goomer in Sam and Cat. And the more obscure the franchise and the more obscure the character, I think the more fun it is to kind of latch onto them. And so I kind of like the idea that every Skibidi Toilet character is kind of in that realm. I do think there's something not about the success of Skibidi Toilet, but about the level that it's being pushed that represents something very depressing about our current cultural marketplace. Something I think about sometimes is what 2010 felt like and what 2015 felt like. And obviously, part of the reason those years felt very different to me was that I was in completely different periods of growing up, middle school versus high school, right? But I also think culturally those are very different years. The technology was different. The popular shows were different. The video games were different. The internet culture was different. And I feel like when you look at 2020 and you compare it to 2025, I feel like that is much less true. I think other than the pandemic, 2025 and 2020 are very similar culturally. If Fortnite had been like a PS3 game that came out in 2009, it would have been very much obscure by the time I graduated high school. But now, Fortnite is still one of the biggest things in the world. Like, we don't have a cycling thing. And another thing that I think Skibidi Toilet is a good example of is what I want to call, like, the gap. The gap. What I'm specifically referring to there is the market of children who are too old to watch Blue's Clues, but too young to really get adult TV. And when I was young, that was the number one market in the youth demographics. I mean, everybody was marketing to that little gap. And now I feel like I look out and people in that age bracket are just being starved of good, long-lasting material. I went to an arcade, one of those places that's like Chuck E. Cheese, but not Chuck E. Cheese. And I noticed that one of the claw machines was only South Park plushies. And I went to the prize area, and a lot of it was Rick and Morty. And I remember just thinking to myself, it's not that kids shouldn't be allowed to like those things. God knows when I was in middle school, I loved South Park. It's that they shouldn't be the main thing. You shouldn't go to the arcade for little kids and see South Park plushies. That's just not how it should work. There should be something else there to fill that little gap. And that's just not really much of a thing culturally right now, because once you get past being preschool age, your family's probably not going to have cable. Kids networks on cable are basically just babysitting networks for little babies. And it is a lot harder to make good money off of kids' content than it was a decade ago for various complicated reasons. So, now you just have content like this. And I think the thing that's relevant about this is, I see a lot of people hate on Skibidi Toilet and say, oh, well, this is so much stupider than stuff that was around when I was a kid. And that's a lie. That's a complete lie, and I hope you know that you're lying, because if it's not, I think it's sad. The stuff that was popular when I was a kid was just as stupid as Skibidi Toilet, if not 1,000 times more stupid. I was thinking about it the other day. Do you know what was one of my favorite internet gags when I was a kid? It was a song about waffles, and the song went, do you like waffles? Yeah, we like waffles. Do you like pancakes? Yeah, we like pancakes. Do you like French toast? Yeah, we like French toast. Do, can't wait to get a mouth waffles! There are so many just dumb internet things that were just funny to us because they were random, and in jokes with us because we were there and the adults weren't there, and we got that stuff and no one else did, and it was our thing. But I think the difference is that our generation's equivalent of Skibidi Toilet was not pushed like stuff like this is being pushed. People are going to say, oh, what about the Fred films? You know, I think the Fred films are legitimately have a more justified excuse to exist. I will say I got to give to Gen Alpha, they didn't make Shane Dawson famous. We let Shane Dawson be a filmmaker for a bit there, so I mean, you know, that's phooey on us. But I think generally, you know, it was kind of rare to walk into the store and just see internet memes on the shelf, because we had better stuff going on. We had more important franchises starting off. We had cooler new ideas and new things than just this. I mean, the equivalent would be if in like 2012 you walked into the toy store and every single toy was based on like a Newgrounds cartoon. That's what the equivalent is. Like one of those old, edgy Newgrounds cartoons that kids loved, but adults would be like, why the hell are you watching this? Imagine walking to the toy store when you're like 10 years old and every single thing on the shelf, or at least like half the things on the shelf, are based on some Newgrounds thing you saw. Sure, you'd be excited, but there's like a level of sadness to it, I think. Anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I understand why young people like Skibidi Toilet, because when I was young, I liked this stuff too, and it's fun to get caught up in this like lore and this world building of something that feels like it was made just for you. But I think the fact that stuff like this is so out in front of anything else new, I think it represents a deep desperation in the current creative marketplace. So anyways, let's see what Skibidi Toilets we end up with. This is really loud. All right, we're not gonna look. And all right, first pull. We got it. We got a Skibidi, man. Can you believe it? First pull of the day. We got a Skibidi Toilet. Wow. Do you know what'd be really funny? It'd be really, really funny, in my opinion, if every single one of these was just that again. Not that the toy line would be a scam, but just somehow statistically, every single toy that was stocked at this one Walgreens was the Skibidi Toilet. Hey, what's up?
Hey, you busy?
I'm recording. What's up?
Oh, I'll let you go.
Oh, okay. I'll call you back when I'm done, maybe?
Okay.
All right, bye.
Yeah, bye.
All right, looks like we have Plunger Man. I kind of think this design's kind of stupid. Yeah, so he has like a security camera head, I guess. That's pretty cool. It's a good, like, nice modern take on the camera head format. Do you like pancakes? Yeah, we like pancakes. And, we got the TV woman. And like I said, Skibidi Toilet has officially gone woke. All right. And we have... I think this is Stereo Man or something. Oh, it's a woman. I misgendered her. That is Speaker Woman. Alrighty. Here is TV Man. My hot take is TV Man would be a great design if he had color bars on the TV. But without that, I think it's missing something. But literally, I think if I took this toy and made like a color bar sticker and put it in the screen, I think this would go hard. But just because it's a stupid smiley face, I think it looks like shit. This is our last Skibidi blind box. So we currently have TV Woman, Plunger Man, TV Man, Speaker Woman, and Skibidi Toilet. The ones we don't have are Cameraman, Speaker Man, and G Toilet. Assuming that this is one of the ones we don't have, I'd really love to have the Cameraman figure. But I actually really don't care. And it's the one I specifically said that I didn't want. Yeah, so this is like the evil Skibidi Toilet, even though Skibidi Toilet's already a bad guy, I think. I don't know. This is like the original character Skibidi. Like the fan art of like Skibidi Toilet, but with red eyes and tattoos. He's got guns, and it's like, oh, you don't know how dark my imagination goes. He's got a jetpack, man. This Skibidi Toilet, he's a little different. I unironically want to like print out like damaged and like put a tattoo on his forehead. All right, so yeah, this was the results. We got 6 out of the 8 figures. We didn't have any doubles. I think that's nice to know. I think it's nice to know that somehow there's a system in place that at least makes that unlikely, that if you go to your Walgreens and you buy every single Skibidi Toilet, you're pretty likely to end up with a unique set. So the ones we didn't get were Cameraman, Speaker Man, and who knows, if this video does well and I can't think of any better ideas, maybe I'll go find some more Skibidi blind boxes. I will say that Plunger Man here is scratched up to hell. I just noticed. I mean, that should I should write a letter. I want to be like, hey, you got to send me a new Plunger Man. This is not acceptable. The condition of this Plunger Man is completely ridiculous. I demand a redo on my merchandise. One thing I'll say that I just realized is when you first open these, they just look like Funko Pops, but I just realized they're posable. So you can actually like make them do the monkey or whatever. And that's really cool, I guess. I do think I want to commend them for that, because they didn't have to do that. They could have just made these Funko Pops. I mean, they're certainly proportioned like Funko Pops. But these are a little bit cooler because they're actually posable. The legs can't move, but the arms and the head can. This one can barely move. I mean that's cool. You know, you can... Plunger Man smelling his plunger. I'm sure it smells great. I mean, are the Skibidis posable? They sure are. They sure are. Look at that. Can you believe that? Can you believe the Skibidis are posable? This one's so posable, it feels like it's gonna fall apart. So yeah, we have the thumbnail now. And as you can see, he is posable. Yay! So tell me what you guys think about the Skibidi toilet franchise, and if you think Michael Bay and his team are going to do the series justice. My number one hot take is, you know, even trying to look at this from the position of someone that defends the franchise, Skibidi Toilet seems like a franchise that's heavily aesthetic. And anytime Hollywood takes a franchise that's supposed to be heavily aesthetic and atmospheric, they usually fuck it up pretty bad. So I don't have high hopes. I think one of two things are going to happen. Number one is it's going to turn out that this crap doesn't sell that well, and they're not going to make the Skibidi Toilet movie after all, and in a few years we'll all have forgotten about this. Option number two is that they'll make it, but they'll try and make it like the Minecraft movie. So it'll be like, I don't know, this kind of like, not Jack Black, but Jack Black-like kind of comedy about people that fall into the Skibidi Toilet world and are like, well, this is just wild or whatever. I think one of those two things will happen. I don't think they'll do a genuine, like, atmospheric Skibidi Toilet adaptation. But again, we'll see. So once again, tell me what you think about these toys. Tell me what you think about the Skibidi brand. I've been Quentin Reviews, and that's all you Skibidi. Do you like waffles? Yeah, we like waffles. Do you like pancakes? Yeah, we like pancakes. Do you like French toast? Yeah, we like French toast. Do, can't wait to get a mouthful. Waffles! 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 Do, can't wait to get a mouthful. Do you like waffles? Yeah, I like waffles. Do you like pancakes? Yeah, we like pancakes. Do you like French toast? Yeah, we like French toast. Do, can't wait to get a mouthful. When are we going to get a movie based on that? When are we going to get the Do You Like Waffles Michael Bay movie?